Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Right beside me, we got my co-host. We have, hey!
Jojo!
Jojo, do you know what they say?
What do they say?
They say, how are you doing for the 1st of February? January 2021 is done. Where did it go?
Gone. It went by so fast. I am in my parking garage, trying to stay nice and warm. I'm toasty. And this one light is just creeping me out a little.
It's kind of like sunlight.
Yeah. I also looked at it for way too long, so I'm just a little blinded. So, woo.
Blinded by the light. Again, that was last week.
Again, so. Literally.
This is your first time on Reality Realness. Well, then welcome. We are very happy to have you here. Make sure that you subscribe. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we can't do it without you. So please join us in the chat, especially today, because we are talking about the finale of Sequester season 4. Holy cow. Like,
ooh.
It started, it finished, and it's done. So what were your overall thoughts of this finale?
I watched it about, I think it was about 40 minutes behind the live broadcast. So I was staying off social media. I didn't want to know anything. I did get a little spoiled because when I pressed play, I thought it was going to start at the beginning. It started at one point when I realized that one person was eliminated. So I went all the way back and then I thought, okay, so how does this happen? I thought the episode itself was incredibly emotional, which surprised me. I expected a little bit more of a bloodbath than a tear fest, but I loved every second of it. Yeah, really satisfying episode.
A tear bath.
Tear bath, yes.
Blood. Yes, a salt bath. Salt baths.
Oh, bath salt. Oh.
Me, myself as well. I mean, I enjoy it because I love social strategy games. I guess I wish that for me that there was just a little bit less talking and just I don't know how to make it what I wanted, but like there was just a lot of jury discussion. Now that definitely could be because there were 11 people that were going to be in the jury. So that's 11 questions. And at least it's going to be like, 3 minutes per person offering a question. So that's going to be about a half an hour for sure.
Yep.
But I did find that as soon as I knew who the final 2 was, I kind of knew who was going to win. So I didn't need to hear
everything.
You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, well, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here. So that was my only kind of critique. But I think that the season on a whole was awesome. I'm happy that it's coming back for season 5. And yeah, let's like talk about the actual episode. So in the beginning, I don't know if we'd ever seen it before, but they kind of started with like night street shots. And they had the Sequester, trust us, trust no one, with like little faces in like a neon light. I'm a sucker for neon lights, not gonna lie. So I was into that. I thought it was very cool. And we kind of get right to Josh making a confessional, thinking that if Muna were to come back from her battle match with Jacob, that it would be detrimental to his game. So what were you thinking? Like, who would you think was good for Muna or Jacob to come back for? What do you think about that?
I think it was better for everyone's game that Muna did not come back. I think Jacob was an obvious target for 5 or for 4. So I think that could have benefited quite a few more people. Sure, as a viewer, most of us would want to see Muna come back and have that fight still. So it would have been probably more exciting for Muna to be the one to return. But I was happy with Jacob being thrown back into the mix.
Thrown back into the mix.
Chucked to the wolves.
Also, Spencer didn't want, he had taken the shot at Muna before and he got a lot of heat for that, but he now is happy that it was Jacob who took him out because Jacob is the one that returned from the battle match against Muna. And that was when he spelled the word manifest like a second earlier, which is like, that probably would be a dagger because it's a word that you use for like inspiration and like for it to be the word that takes you out of your dream.
Oof.
That would be kind of heartbreaking. So poor Muna in that sense. But I was happy for Jacob here. I did feel as though, even though he was getting a lot of, flack from everybody saying that like he shouldn't have done that and this and that, like he was playing the game the whole time and he was doing what he thought was best for him to get further in the game. And so I do actually respect what he's done, because I think that people are taking it into like a moral code as opposed to just game moves,
Yep.
So I was happy that he came back at that point. And who read that card? Was it Spencer that read the card? Well, the card says that the truth will set you free. Because if you lie, you'll be on jury. And congratulations. Oh, it was Spencer, yes. Because he goes, congratulations on making the final 5. And then he like encourages everybody to applaud. Yeah.
Hype up, hype up, hype up.
Like, I thought it was cute memento. So they didn't name this twist, I don't think.
I don't remember either.
I don't think so. So the twist was that they each had either 5 or 6 clay pots where they put 3 ping pong balls underneath, either all under one, or they could spread out 2 in one and 1 in one. And they were going to be asking or being asked questions about their fellow house guest or BB talk about their fellow competitors. And if they choose to answer, they could smash one of the clay pots to hopefully reveal a ping pong ball. And when the 3 ping pong balls are gone, they would be out. And the last person standing, oh my God, would be able to choose somebody to be safe with them. And they would be moving on to the final 4. So I thought this was a great game. We love, seeing where loyalties and alliances lie. I wrote down a lot of the questions, but do you have any questions that stood out to you that you were surprised that people answered? Because everybody answered every single question.
Yeah,
that we saw.
The only thing that confused me was you could still lie with your answers.
Oh yeah, I would be using those answers like in a way that made me look a certain type of way.
Yeah, like if I was Natalie, maybe I would put all my negativity towards Jacob, and any negative answer was going towards my closest ally in the game instead. I just didn't understand the fact that obviously I don't think anyone was saying, I don't want to answer that question. So it wasn't my favorite twist, to be fair. I also would have preferred only one person safe at Final 5. I think that would have made it a little bit more exciting, but once who won and the person they chose to be safe, personally, of course, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. Yay. 2 people that I love in this game are safe, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know if I was a competitor, if I'd want 2 people safe instead of just 1, especially at Final 5.
So like the first question, for instance, was, who do you want to take to the final 2? This was asked to Spencer. And I believe Spencer said Billy.
Billy, yes.
Which I was surprised by. I wonder if he said that to curry favor with everybody else that was there, or like to pander to Billy. Because if he's playing a winning game, sorry, Billy, but nobody should be wanting to sit beside you. If they wanted to win, nobody should be next to her or Muna. Those are the 2 people that were going to be winning most likely no matter what. Yep. Hi, Joseph. Happy February.
Joseph.
And this told me that the other finalists were basically banking on the fact that Muna hated Spencer and would lead the jury to them as the winner. To me, Spencer played the strongest. Ooh, 4 battle matches. All right, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to whether or not we think he played the strongest game, because I love the final 2 people for the fact that they had polar opposite games. So I thought that was very cool. We had Natalie being asked who is the weakest player in the game, and she said Spencer, and stating kind of that she didn't feel as though he did anything strategic. He just was bad socially and won battle matches. So what do you think about? Do you think that there's somebody else that is a weaker player in the game?
I think that was a good answer for Natalie. But I don't know. I think I think I would have went about this round a little different personally. I think I would have went a little bit more negative with the person that I felt the closest to in the game, or someone just as close. I don't know if you necessarily had to tell the truth here. So maybe her saying Spencer wasn't a good idea, but she was being honest. She also wanted to be heard. So she was making a point of saying, like, I'm not going to be quiet. I am going to give my opinion. I want people to think that I'm a force here. And I do believe Natalie was a force in the game. But Spencer saying that he wanted Billy in the final two was very telling, in my opinion. And what it leads to at the final four or at the final two is very, very interesting. I also don't think, actually don't think that Spencer played the worst game. I think in general, I saw a huge redemption arc for him, especially with this finale. So I was more impressed than I originally thought I would be, even at episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. So episode 9, good job.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Get there.
Josh has asked which player is the most gullible, and the answer is Spencer. I tried to follow who broke whose, but it was a little bit hard to follow. So
yeah,
it kind of becomes inconsequential, anyways, with the way that this challenge ended. So I'm not going to name that. So which player is the most gullible? Josh thinks Spencer is the most gullible, and Spencer kind of says that, like, you know, Josh has shaky eyes. Did you get that from Billy, or like swirly eyes or something? And so he wasn't surprised that Josh has been lying to him this whole game. Do you think that anybody else is more gullible in the game?
No, I don't think you can be that gullible. I think maybe if Marcelo was sitting there in the final 5, you could throw that on him, but I don't think anyone's really gullible at this point. It's been a week of gameplay, exhaustion setting in. Some people are just going to say shit to say shit. I don't necessarily think he thought Spencer was the most gullible either. I don't know. I'm not Josh, but in the moment, you're saying a name, you have 4 other people to choose from. He gave a good reason, enough reason to justify his answer.
Billy was asked which player is at the top of her hit list. She says Natalie, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I think it makes sense, because both Natalie and Billy were saying that, you know, final 6 was where they're going to take each other out. So
yeah.
And she probably has the least connection with her, I would say, and playing the game for the least amount of time with her. Kind of always like they're lying to each other and apologizing, and like they had a
hugging and a
tumultuous relationship. So that didn't surprise me at all.
She could have said Natalie. She could have said Natalie for every single answer, and Natalie would have been like, "Okay, sure, okay, got it."
Very true. I mean, it kind of goes along with like your closest ally thing, or who you think it doesn't matter if they're mad at you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Fair enough.
Jacob says, the question is, who do you not want to sit next to in the final 2? And he says Billy, which is the right answer. Like, definitely the right answer. I think we said the pecking order last week. I said that Billy will win the game. Like, the order was going to be Billy. We thought Josh would be second, so on and so forth. Did we? I think so.
I don't know. Didn't you think that Billy was going to go first?
Well, I was saying that if Billy isn't the one taken out first, she's going to be the winner. Like, if she wasn't taken out at 5, she would be the winner of the game. So that's kind of.
And spoiler alert.
I mean, I was right, and we're going to talk to
right.
more. We both were right. Spencer's question was, who would you like to get voted out final 4? And he says Jacob. I mean, he could have just been saying that because Jacob's not going to get mad at him. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I think Jacob could have been a really ideal final 4 vote. I think 3 people could have agreed. If Natalie went at final 5 and it was Jacob there with Spencer, Billy, and Josh, I do believe the 3 of them could have just been like, all right, we're doing this. The issue is the proper way to play a Final Four is to tie the vote. And preferably, you're not the one on the wheel. I mean, there are different ways. We'll get there. We'll get there.
2 people to vote for you kind of thing, and be the one that's safe, and then let them change their vote, or...
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we'll get there when we talk Final Four. But there are obviously different ways to play it, but I think the most successful is a tie.
Josh's question is, or next question is, oh no, sorry, Natalie was before that. Which player is least deserving to win? And Natalie says Josh. And I thought that was interesting.
I mean, looking around, her closest allies were Jacob, and at that point, I actually thought Josh and Natalie played pretty well together. I felt like Josh did want Natalie around, so she might have just been throwing out a name too. But she also might not have respected what he actually has done, because we as viewers have seen it. I don't think necessarily all the players have seen Josh's great moves.
Mm-hmm. And she also smashes Josh's whatever ceramic thing, or clay pot. So maybe she is annoyed with Josh about something we haven't seen everything about. Josh is next. Which player would never get your vote? He says Natalie. Ooh, so maybe somebody else went on. Like, they don't respect each other's gameplay or think they've done anything in the game, but he says Natalie. And I can't remember whose question this was, but if you could restart the game with one less person on the cast. I don't know whose question was that. Who's after Josh? It was Billy. Did she say who?
I don't remember. That's a juicy question, though. Couldn't you pick someone from the jury?
Probably because I wanted to go back and check what it was, but I forgot to do so. Joseph!
Help!
Joseph, you know who had the question? I think it's Billy. Yeah, Billy had the question. If you restart the game with one less person on the cast.
Out of only the 5 of them?
On the cast.
So, oh yeah, so like that answer shouldn't even matter, because I would just say a jury member, no?
Oh.
Even though their names, I guess, are not included in this.
Oh, so maybe you can only choose one of the 5 people.
Yeah, maybe I'd be like, oh, me, because I probably would have, I don't know. I don't know if you could vote yourself, but that could have been smart too.
I don't know who she just said. Maybe Natalie. I don't remember who she said. Oh well.
Yikes.
Jacob, which player has owned their game the least? He says Natalie. I mean, that makes sense. Like,
surprise, surprise. People are telling Natalie how she's playing the game.
Honestly, I know you're a super Natalie stan, and like, I appreciate anybody that goes on these shows and anybody that's trying to win, and they're playing and they're making moves, whatever. But there's something about her approach that doesn't make me want to root for her. So I don't know if it's the confidence level or if it's the conviction level. It seems like she's apologizing all the time for everything that she does. And I think that that's why people don't feel like she's owning up to her game moves, is because it's kind of like, yeah, I did this. You know what I mean? Like, instead of being like, I did this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that is why I can't get behind her as much, is because I don't feel a conviction in her moves. It seems like she's asking for forgiveness or apologizing. And yeah, you can still ask for forgiveness and apologize, being like, but there could be a command in your assertion of them that I would respect a little bit more. And I think that would be respected more by her fellow game players.
Yeah, I think she was banking on being able to deliver in the final 2 instead of showing early to her fellow competitors what she's actually been doing. Because we'll talk about it at Final Four, but like the fact that she was straight up asked, like, well, what have you done? And she's saying, I can explain moves to the jury. It's like, you can say you can explain moves to the jury, but you're not explaining to the 3 other competitors in front of you right now what those would be. So I do think it was an insecurity thing for sure. She never really felt like she was being included at the beginning, even if she was playing and being told that she wasn't.
So Joseph says, shocker, Natalie was going to finish in 3rd place anyways. Pretty much. I mean, I didn't really see. She might have been a final 2 GOAT, maybe, but she's just not people. She just wasn't going to be.
No, and I think she was self-aware enough, and even when she herself said, "I don't think I could have gotten a single vote," that really broke my heart, because I do think she's. It's kind of like Jessica in season 3. I actually think Jessica played a better game than Hunter, but she wasn't able to really find it during the jury speech.
I didn't have any confidence in her game. I didn't feel as though she could replicate it. I didn't know if she would be a good ally. She just seemed to me a little bit wishy-washy, like a little bit like if I want somebody to be, for my enjoyment of strategic prowess, is that they are clear with their intentions and they execute them and they don't apologize for them. Or if they do apologize for them, it is with some sort of command. And so including, Jessica, I agree. I'm like, well, she could have probably won that if she was better at showing people and giving people the confidence in her making those decisions for the game, and it wasn't just happenstance. And so both of those women, I think, fell to the fact that that's what they're calling owning their game, is like being like, I made these moves because I wanted to make these moves. Like, I'm coming for you. I did this, like command, as opposed to like, well, like I did this and I did this. Like, it's like they want people to like them and agree that they're a good player, as opposed to just like telling them why this.
Yes.
These are the facts.
List it off.
You don't need approval.
There it is. None.
Approval. That's the problem, I think. Just saying. Joseph says, Natalie would have thrived better if this was a normal sequester season where you can have the chance to build the relationships in between rounds instead of just doing the rounds. Yeah, I can see that as well. I don't really know how different it was in the house, because it's still a week and there usually was more players. But yeah, maybe it was more accelerated. Like, I'm not sure what the differences would be, but she needed to be able to make friends more quickly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to have a strong bond.
I mean, Josh was also able to do it. He came in literally not knowing anyone, and besides kind of Brent, and he was able to make it all the way to the final 4 after being eliminated first, technically by the vote, but he was someone that really excelled even by not having prior relationships. I don't think prior relationships really affected the game as a whole with the outcome of the winner.
Moral compass wise, though.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So there was a few other questions that were going on, but it ended up being that the only person that was officially eliminated was Spencer. So he was eliminated out, and then that it was a 4-way tie after all the questions were done between Jacob, Natalie, Billy, and Josh. And so there was a tie-breaking question. I really did want to see all their guesses. I'm not sure why that was omitted. So the question was, how long in total did that competition take, correct?
Yeah. I don't have the answer, though. I know who won it, but I don't have the answer.
So Jari guessed the closest at, I guess, 45 minutes? I put seconds, but Jacob?
Joseph, Jacob, Joshua.
So I put down 45 seconds, but maybe it was 45 minutes. So he guessed it the closest. He gets to now be safe. He's going to the final 4 for sure. And he gets to choose who he is taking with him.
Yes.
And this, I think, was the pivotal decision of the episode. And this is where Josh made, in my opinion, his biggest fumble. Like, this, for him, this wasn't the move. He decides to save Billy and take Billy to the final 4. Now, I love Billy. I want Billy to win. But if I'm sitting in the position of any of the other people and I also wanted to win, she would not be the person that can get even close to getting to the end. When you have the shot, you have to take her and at least make her do the battle match or whatnot, but to give her a free ride to final 4 so she could always say that I never touched a battle match. She could always say that. she could always say like, my social was so good that when it was the best for you to take me out, you took me further.
With you. Yeah, with you.
Always will have something better to say. And I was like, I knew at that moment that that's how it was going to go down. Now, I ended up getting spoiled. Like, I just looked up and I was an absence of mind. And like, I saw this Twitter thing go up and it said, well,
congratulations.
I said so-and-so winner of Sequester. And I was like, but at this moment though, was when I was like, okay, well, got to the halfway point of the episode. I knew that she was going to be the winner once Josh made that decision. So what do you think would have been the better decision for Josh to make? I know that the loyalty thing was kind of Billy's way of managing her social relationships, because it's like we're loyal, loyal, keeps everybody in check because nobody wants to be disloyal. Get it? Smart. Very smart. It's a great way to be able to keep people under your spell, because it's like, I would never do that to you, even though she might.
Yep.
Right? But anyways, so what would you think?
He was very confident with thinking that he could take Billy out at the Final Four. And I can understand why, for sure. But it's going to depend who is there with him in the Final Four for Billy to go. So I probably would have decided the person that I would want to sit next to in the final two should be safe with me in the Final Four, ideally. So maybe Natalie should have been his choice because he did think he could beat her and he thought that he could get to the end with her. So maybe I would have tried that and then said, Spencer, Billy, obviously you two aren't going to vote each other out. Let's vote for Jacob. We can do this as like the three of us right now can vote for Jacob. You might get drug in, but it is what it is. So I think the smarter move would have been to bring Natalie for safety.
If that's the case, Natalie would feel like, oh my God, Josh just brought me to the Final Four here. We should vote together. So maybe we can get to the final two together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, or figure out how to make that work, that we both got to the final two. So I think that he played it really poorly, because he so you save her to take her to Final Four, so then you can cut her at Final Four. Like, you should have used the opportunity to save somebody else, to have them at least be willing to vote with you.
Yes. Josh,
you were very I think that you would have won the game if you had not made that decision.
Yeah.
Well,
Josh easily could have
still have depended on the final battle match, but I think that he would have had a higher likelihood.
I mean, I think a really exciting final two would have been Billy and Josh. Personally, I would have loved to see that. But I was also like, really, all in all, out of the five of them, I loved how it all shook down. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's not an answer.
I know.
Out of here.
It was a lot, though. That entire episode was.
People going to be up for nominations or elimination is Jacob, Spencer, and Natalie. And people starts running around. I did make notes, and then I was like, there's just too much running around to be able to remember which conversation was which and who was better to keep for the Final Four. But Jacob's one pitch was, take me out at 4. Take me out at 4. Take me out at 4, which I thought was really good, because it would be easy for him to people to agree with that and be like, yeah, we should just take him out at 4, because we can always get everybody to agree that he's going to take them out at 4. And some people would know for sure that he's not going to take them. So he probably would have dragged Josh, you know what I mean, at 4. Yeah. So then it would have been like Natalie and Spencer would have been, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been, oh no, sorry, not Natalie and Spencer. It would have been whatever. Billy, it would be Natalie and Billy, whatever. You get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
It could move for them to have somebody that they could have voted out that more likely wouldn't vote them out or drag them.
Yeah, I think the take me out at 4 strategy has been done, kind of overdone, especially this summer during the minis. I used it twice. I was like, take me out at 4, whatever, it's fine. Like, there it is. But then I went out 5th. I went out 6th the second time I tried it. So there's definitely pros and cons to using it. I think Jacob and Spencer probably would have ended up in the battle match regardless of how the vote went. I do think Spencer would have chosen Jacob, and clearly with how the votes went this round, that's exactly what Jacob wanted to happen. Kind of have a king of the battle backs.
Well, and this is the thing, is that Josh knew that he needs to take out Billy. And so at least making her somebody that would be potentially going into the battle match is good for him.
Yeah.
It's good. And happy with Billy as a winner. Absolutely. I thought she played an excellent game, 100%. But I wanted all the other people to be playing winning games too, right? And that was not a winning move.
I think people did play winning games though. It sometimes, especially with Sequester. But I think he felt confident going into Final Four as Billy being the target at the Final Four vote. The way that Final Four went, I don't think anybody could have predicted that was going to be the scenario.
I mean, not that it was going to be the salt bath, but I can see her being persuasive.
Sure.
With how not being the one that's targeted, and because she's developed these close relationships with all these people, that their heartstrings, she would be able to pull on them a lot more easily because she has these loyalty connections with them. And so she was, no matter what, going to be able to be like, you, how could you look at me in the eye and not be loyal to me anymore? How could you do this to me? I would never do that to you. And like, she will always have that. And so I just think that it was a complete miscalculation on this persuasiveness of Billy's game to think that you'd be able to sit in front of her and look her in the face and say, I'm voting you out. Like, Josh was able to do it. Yes. But Natalie was not able to do that.
And Natalie had to look at Joshua to say it. And then as soon as she did this, it was melting down to Billy's request.
Oh, so bad. So,
but so good.
Being Jacob, and Jacob drags, you mentioned Spencer. I mean, it's the best thing for him to do. Natalie, in his opinion, is not really. He needs to take out Spencer if he wants to be the only person that's won 4 battle matches. They kind of have a similar kind of legacy. The house is against them, going against Muna. And they can't both be there and get the vote. So it's kind of one or the other. I was obviously rooting for Jacob here, but were you rooting for Jacob or Spencer?
Oh, so this is my confession. When I first started the episode, I saw Jacob sitting on the jury. So I assumed Jacob's going to be the one to go. But then I thought, oh, fuck, maybe Jacob is the one taken out at Final Four, and he's the one that dragged someone, or he dragged whatever. Personally watching it, I kind of wanted Spencer to be the king of the battlebacks.
Hi, Cameron. So I'm not mad at Josh for trying to earn favor with Billy. He would have still been fine with the Final Four if Natalie hadn't sacrificed herself. He wasn't counting on that, and I think that was a fair assumption.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, the move is to take out Billy because Billy is going to win. So I think that it was a logical decision for him to assume that everybody would be on that. Well, that Natalie would be on that page because
Natalie started the round on that page. She said, "Josh, if you don't vote with me for Billy, I will drag you." Done. That was, Josh could sit back for a little bit and be like, "Okay, here it is." Instead, they all opened up their hearts and they started to get emotional, and that's when things started to change.
But like, why would anybody think that Billy was just going to let that happen?
When I was watching it, I thought all 3 of these people are voting Billy out.
I didn't at all.
Well, yeah, you were spoiled. When I
No,
was
but
watching it,
it also didn't at all though with how I thought she should have been gone but already.
yeah, I mean, I think we even said it last week that Billy out fifth was best for everybody. So that would have been the smarter thing to do for most people. But
As soon as she started her first time rebuttaling like her not being the vote, I was like, I mean, yes, spoiled, but like absolutely they're going to buckle here. There's no
yeah,
way, especially Natalie, because Natalie was always kind of holding back emotion, you know what I mean? The whole season, not just in this
yep.
one scenario. And so her heartstrings were able to be activated here.
I'm gonna plug in my phone.
No problem. So anyways, like yes, spoiled, but like I could just tell that there was no way that he was going to get that outcome. It just didn't seem likely for me. And he should have taken the shot when he had it.
At Final Five, yes, but I think,
And it wasn't even going to be a shot. It would just have been like, hey, I'm just going to take Natalie.
I think that would have been the smarter decision for him to do that. But I did, for the life of me, I thought Spencer's willing to vote her out right now. So Natalie started the round willing to vote her out, and Josh. So that is 3-1. That would have been Josh's best case scenario, because I don't believe that Billy actually would have drug him. I do believe she probably would have drugged Natalie, and let her two favorite players make it to the final two. But that's when it got tricky.
She's not gonna go down easily. What? Like, yeah, okay, fine, guys, I'll go against me. Like, absolutely not. Like, she's gonna be fighting for her life to stay.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So, but before like the final four discussion though, so it was kind of questions that I like. So it's about the whole the competition beforehand, the twist. And so asking like who said what, who said this, and so I like that it brought in an element of Big Brother kind of questioning, where it's like you have to remember things that happened within the game. Sorry, you are freezing, so I don't know if you can hear me. You can hear me because you're frozen.
I can hear you now. I froze.
So I was just saying that I like
now.
I can hear you. Yes, you can't hear me at all. So I was saying that I liked the competition between Jacob and Spencer for the battle match, being that it was kind of reminding me of Big Brother. So it was questions about the previous twist, and they had to remember who said what. And so I like that they had to unknowingly pay attention to what was going on there. And I was actually very surprised that Jacob didn't do as well, because I really thought that he would have been just a better observer in that scenario. Brain dead?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that that would have been something that Jacob would excel in. That would be my assumption. But at the end of the day, it's true and false, 50-50. And if you're not paying attention to what's going down, then there it is. I was surprised by the results. Seeing what the competition was, I thought that Jacob would have the upper hand, but good for Spencer. He's the battle back king.
Spencer. I guess it was left in just to make us have a misdirect when Spencer got the first one wrong, or his first question wrong, and he kind of like, oh my God, and like he was so upset. I thought that meant that Jacob was just going to do a clean run for the rest of them, and he was going to come out the victor. So I was definitely surprised that Jacob got two wrong in the end. Very surprised. But I like that in the sense that they had to pay attention to what their fellow competitors were saying, doing, and thinking. I'm into it for sure. I can't remember who said this, but before the actual battle match, it might have been Billy, mentioning that going into a battle match is a testament of bad gameplay. What do you think about that as a statement?
Easy for her to say, because I
Was
do
it really?
think
I don't
that
know.
she has played. I think it was. I'd assume it was. I think for her to say it, sure. Yeah, that's fair because she has never been voted out or dragged. So that is good gameplay. But I don't think it makes you a bad player to be voted out or to be dragged. There's an argument for both.
For sure. Who's Team Anonymous? Hi, Team Anonymous. I'd like to be some more celebrities and reality stars on season 5, like Tila Tequila. I don't know if I care about that. The one thing, okay, I see what you're saying, Team Anonymous, but for me, what I like about Sequester for sure is that it's somebody I know, or one degree of separation with people that I've played with in the community that have been looking for these opportunities to come and try to do well in a game that they love. And so I like that it's a little bit more closer to home. And it's just an opportunity for me or Jojo or our other friend down the street to participate and play, as opposed to somebody that's already had a few TV shows and stuff like that. It's kind of like they already got there. Yeah. They've already been able to be on TV and whatnot. They have so many opportunities. Like, why bother taking away an opportunity from somebody that has never had any opportunities in this light? So what do you think, Jojo?
I don't think Audrey's ever had to have stunt casting for Sequester. There have been, like people from Big Brother Canada or US or Amazing Race or RHAP or Survivor. They have all played this game in one way or the other, whether it be the live action or the mini. I really loved this cast in particular because it didn't feel like anybody was really heads and above a better gamer than someone else or a bigger celebrity. I don't think Brent's status or Shireen's status necessarily overshadowed the rest of the cast. If anything, Josh not being well known in the first week kind of helped his entire arc of the game. If he made it to the end, that could have been a really strong argument as well. So I don't think Audrey needs to worry about stunt casting, but if she wants to, then she can put on whoever the hell she wants on the show.
For sure. But I guess for me, I don't care about seeing celebrities play Sequester. It's not something for me that's a drive. I tend to enjoy for Big Brother and Survivor maybe differently, but for Big Brother for sure. Like, I like fresh casts. I want new casts. I want all new casts. I don't want any returnees because I don't care. They already had their opportunity. Like, let somebody else. I want to see new gameplay. I want to see new fire. I want to see new, like, a new celebrity or star emerge, And so I don't personally need to have celebrities. If they're going to do like a completely celebrity season, now that's different because then I'm like, okay, let me just see what these celebrities do on a separate season. So with Big Brother, they did like a celebrity Big Brother where it was all celebrities and no, regular folk. Cool. But it's completely different. I like having the regular folk get the opportunity to be on a show that they love. I like it. I like that. And I don't care about Tia
too.
Even though I've watched both of her seasons. Did you watch them? Did you?
Yeah.
Me too.
Did I watch which?
I like the name of the pardon?
I was just delayed.
Okay. So I like the name of that comp, Deja Vu Trivia. I thought it was cute. And as we already mentioned, Spencer wins. That means that Jacob is taken out at 5 instead, and Spencer goes to sit on the table in the kitchen while the other 3 have their blindfolds on because they do not know who was coming back from the battle match, whether it be Spencer or Jacob. They reveal their mask, and it is Spencer. That's your response? The timing was like perfect. Final 4, Josh, Natalie, Billy, Spencer. So now we can talk about this foursome. And so you think that you were surprised. Well, they had 10 minutes. They had 10 minutes to decide who was going to be eliminated, and then that person is going to be drag somebody. So this is what makes it very difficult with the final 4, because if you vote somebody out, they could potentially drag you and not take you to the final 4 or final 2. So you were saying that you think the optimum way to play the final 4 round is to lock in a tie where you are the vote and they go to the wheel, the other 2 people. How do you think how this went?
I do think that is ideal. I've only played in the final 4 once in Sequester, and my experience was by far probably maybe the easiest for any winner, because I was very aware of who would drag who, and I knew I'd be fine. So my gameplay was quite different. I could afford a 3-1 vote. I think the majority of the time, the best way to play a final 4 is for it to end up in a tie. Even if you are on the wheel, that's when you make the deal of, if you go, don't drag me. If I go, I'm not going to drag you. So we will put it on these 2 other people because they're forcing us into this wheel. That never happened with Josh and Natalie. So I think the smarter move for Natalie the second round would have been to go to Josh and say, we're going to a wheel regardless. Do not drag me. I will not drag you. That, I think, would have been the better move for them to continue gaming instead of putting it up to just chance when it's at 50-50. That's when you can flip the power from the wheel being the full elimination or the wheel being 50-50. But if one of us, whoever goes, doesn't take the other, we're in the final 2. We're willing for that to be the consequence.
Is that Josh wanted to prove a point, and he said something that I thought was, he's playing for the future, and I like people that play for the future. Yes. And he was saying, yes. If I were, well, he didn't even say, he's like, when I come back to play All Stars, ballsy, like that, I want to know that when I say that I'm going to drag you, I am going to drag you. And so he's kind of already instilled the fear in others that, you know, he means what he says when he makes a threat like that. So I like that he was like, that's why I have to drag you, Natalie. And Natalie's like, no. And like, why wouldn't Natalie think that he would keep her word there? Like, she just fucked him out of what they kind of started off saying that they were going to do, take out Billy, and they would have a 33% chance of getting to the end at that point, you know, and instead he put him at risk. He does get voted out by the wheel, and then he wants her to let her go to final 2. There's like, I would just be at this point and be like, hey man, like, I wanted Billy out because I thought that she was going to win the game. Now I want her to win the game because you took that opportunity away from me. And I would just be like, sorry, girl, you're coming with me. You wanted the wheel? You got it. You get the drag. 100%.
Yeah.
I've been so pissed.
I think it was definitely it was definitely a justified drag for sure. He made it very clear. If I was Natalie, I probably might have switched my vote to Billy. But I think the 3-1 vote against Billy would have been the obvious thing to happen at the final 4. 100%. Especially with Spencer willing to. Natalie could have tried to bank on the fact that Spencer and Joshua were not going to be loyal to Billy. And Billy's like, I'm being straight up with you, Billy. I threatened Josh right away. If he doesn't off vote for you to go, I'm dragging him. And it's the reversal. It's the fact that Billy was able to say, but, and pull on Natalie's heartstrings. And Natalie just kind of, I don't want to say she crumbled, but she gave in to what Billy wanted to happen.
And I think that that is also why people say that she doesn't own up to her game. Because she knew the right move was to take out Billy, but she wasn't able to stand in that conviction. And it cost her from being final two. Because if things had shaken out differently, but they ended up in that same scenario, Josh would have maybe dragged Billy, and she might have had a better chance of winning against Spencer. You know what I mean? So I think that she played it terribly wrong in trying to call Josh's bluff when she doesn't have that great of a relationship with Josh. Like, why would Josh at this point
I think when it comes down,
or even Spencer over Natalie, who just basically got him out of the game? Right?
Natalie at this moment is thinking she's getting no votes. I think that's what it came down to, was the fact that she thought, I can't win. I would rather see Billy win the game. Even if it's her and Billy at the final two sitting together, I think at that point she thought, I would like Billy to win.
Well, she definitely ushered herself out of that second seat. So back to what we were saying before, Joseph says seeing celebs ain't for him either. Most wouldn't take the game seriously. Exactly. I want to see people that want to play. They would just do the bare minimum to justify their money. They got to give up a week of their lives. Absolutely. Even like on Celebrity Big Brother, you know, you found that people were quitting and people were this. It's kind of like, for me, it's not entertaining because I watch these shows for strategy and social. I don't need it to be celebrities in order for me to be interested in gameplay. So yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. Hundo. So after the salt bath of final four, it ends up being, so Josh drags Natalie, and it's going to be Billy and Spencer as the final two, which I do think is a very interesting final two. I alluded to it before, but Billy is to have been said to have the best social game, and Spencer has been said to have the worst social game. So I thought that two sides of the coin there was really interesting. And then also it was pointed out, I believe by, I don't remember who, but Billy, who's never been in a battle match, to Spencer, who's been in the most battle matches. So I found that the fact that they were pretty much the only two people that would be polar opposites in their game style were sitting next to each other in the end. So I wish it was a little bit closer in order to see it play out, in my opinion, more interestingly. But I thought it was a very interesting final two. What do you think?
Yeah, I love them as the final two, to be honest. I think that Spencer had a real redemption story by the time he was sitting in the final two, and that was obvious to everyone that has watched this season from beginning to end. He can be a little polarizing too, and not everyone's going to be a fan and not everyone's going to be supportive of him, but I think all in all, the game did kind of shape differently for him. It didn't start off strong at all, and then with his momentum, he was able to find his footing, have a better social game by the end, by the time he got to final two. But he's also sitting next to a juggernaut of Billy. Billy has been incredible since episode 1, and I think she was probably the most deserving winner of the two, and I was happy to see that happen.
I mean, 100%. I obviously knew who was the winner at this point, but I also didn't think that she could lose against anyone except for Muda. So as soon as she was in the final four, and especially when she was in the final two, I was like, hands down, I wouldn't be surprised if she got all the votes. I wouldn't be surprised. So some
Yeah.
things that came up. I didn't get all the questions, but Katie, I thought she had a really good attitude when she was asking the questions. Who was that? Oh, Jay West. Who did Jay? Yeah, she did look great. What did Jay West ask? I'm sorry, Jay West, but he became a real non-entity in this whole season. Obviously, he had a dismal game episode, quoted out, and then he didn't win the battle back. But I feel like maybe he checked out or like he didn't want to be there. It didn't seem like he was engaged in the final two at all. Did you notice that?
I mean, game related, Billy was the one to exile Jay West, and I don't know if him and Spencer really got on the first day, so I don't know if he had a lot to go by, but he was also probably a little bit influenced by who else was around him in the jury, how he was getting along with them, what they had to say about their experience in the game. So I assume that Billy would get his vote.
One thing that I thought was cute though, Billy picked up or watched some YouTube videos on how to lie. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Rachel kind of talks to both of them, obviously, and Spencer in his response says he apologized to maybe making Shireen and Rachel feel a certain type of way with how he was kind of threatening pulling them into a battle match, et cetera, et cetera. And Rachel accepted his apology, so that was nice.
Yeah.
To me, Rachel also was somebody that kind of just their importance seemed to fall off for me. I don't know what happened in the jury house, but it just didn't seem as though she was an invested character in the game. You know what I mean? At this point.
I actually think she did pretty well the first couple of weeks. It was once she was out, she was out.
Well, I mean,
and the battle match was the next.
She was invested in the game with her questioning.
I think her questioning was to give Spencer an opportunity to publicly apologize or to give his own comments on the situation in general. And I do think she accepted his apology, and it is game, and it does happen, especially early on. He really didn't put his best foot forward, so she gave him the opportunity to apologize and to accept that apology. But there was no question that she was voting for anybody but Billy in the final two. No matter who she was sitting up against. Maybe Muna, but who knows?
I think my favorite part of all the questioning was when Sheree was like, "Who was the killer?" Because I actually forgot about that. And we said that when episode happened and Billy was the killer, that it would be amazing to have that as your reveal in the final two, and she got to do that moment.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty great. I think people were still surprised that they got duped by Billy. Like, even though there's only two choices there really left, was Spencer or Billy. One of the two of them had to be the killer at this point. But I don't think they just thought it would be Billy. And so I liked that reveal for sure. How did you feel about Shireen asking Billy to share what she thought it meant to be a strong woman?
I loved it. I think they really could have had a really successful female alliance in Sequester, and they did initially. So I do think you know me, I love a strong, powerful woman. So I think it was good to celebrate and just to bring up in general, especially with sitting next to Spencer. It just gives her a platform to talk about what it means to be a strong, independent lady.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about it personally, because as much as like I am one and I support all, I kind of felt though, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was kind of a low blow in a sense that like it took it away from gameplay a little bit and then made it more of like Spencer is not a good guy and Billy's a great woman. You know what I mean? And so there was a part of it that it just seemed a little bit pandering and forcing pandering to vote for a strong woman as opposed to maybe people's moral compass being tested by wanting to vote for Spencer, maybe just purely for gameplay and battle matches. Do you know what I mean? So I felt it just made it become an emotional plea as opposed to just looking at what people did in the game.
I don't think it did Billy any favors, but I don't think it hurt her game at all in the final two speeches to have that question asked and answered. I don't think it hurt. Billy obviously was, yeah, but it could have alienated someone, and there was room for that with that type of question.
Yeah, so I guess like I was just kind of, I didn't know if it was the right time to have that kind of conversation to be started within the jury questioning. Anyways, but if it was a Women's Day speech, like let's go for it. But I don't know if it was what I was looking for in how I wanted to be basing my vote, you know?
Yep.
Brent asked, so like, I don't, okay, so Brent didn't really make his question very clear and Billy didn't seem to respond to it. But I guess basically what Brent was saying is that how was it strategically good for you to be sitting in the final two with Muna, since Muna would have most likely beat you? And so she didn't really respond well to that question. What do you think of that question, and what do you think of her response and how she should have responded?
I don't remember her exact response, but I think the clear one should have been that she wasn't afraid to sit next to Muna because she had done just as much in this game compared to Muna. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to go to the end with the best or someone that's on your level. So I think she could have actually given herself a little bit more props instead of taking away from Muna or saying that Muna's this big thing. We all thought, like, everyone thinks that Muna's going to win. Everyone thinks that. So as long as everyone's thinking that, then Muna's going to continue being the target. So that is a part of her. Oh, ooh, my light just came on.
Someone coming in?
Scared me. Yeah, no, my light just came on.
Oh my god, I'm so delayed.
I think she could have
now.
I know, I'm like, oh, there it goes. I think she could have done a better job answering it and straight up saying, like, I think I could have beat Muna. I think that would have been the better answer. Right.
Be like, the reason why I was going to be taking Muna to the end is because, yes, Muna is well liked and people are supporting her journey. I think my journey was better, and I think I could have showed you that.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that be the answer, for sure. And then I got tired of writing all these questions down, so I stopped writing. Do you have any other questions that popped up for the final two here?
I like Brendan's quite a bit. Brendan's was used by...
Oh, yeah, I wrote down Brendan's, yes. His was the best. That's your question. Brendan. Usually I ask questions in a different way.
I actually ask to rank from highest to lowest who you think your jury votes would be. But this girl named Maggie, who plays in the minis, she had the close your eyes, raise your hand idea. And I do think Brendan also like pointed that out. He's like, hey, this isn't an original thing. This is me bringing in something from the minis from the summer and a question that I love. But my ranking was done way before Maggie's. So
yeah, no, at least a year and a half ago, right? He made me do that.
I think that's a fun one. It kind of makes
it would be too long though. It's a long one. So I liked that Brendan's kind of gets a similar response from the jurors, with it being a little bit quicker and a lot less talking. So I like that it's a condensed version of your question, kind of.
Yeah, it was a good question. I liked it too. And none of the answers surprised me. Not a single one.
Not me neither. Joseph says Billy should have defended the whole throne vote thing. Yeah, she was just banking on the fact that Jerry hates Spencer with a passion. Muna versus Spencer told the story of the season. Interesting.
Though I do think Billy played the finale well by really owning her loyalty. She kind of like took what she wanted and created the narrative at the end, because she could have said like, yes, I did this deceptively and I did lie, blah 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 blah, or she kind of played it safe in my opinion and went on and on about being a loyal player when we saw her being able to do anything all 9 episodes.
I did love, though, that Billy was saying that she was playing this game for her brother. So we do know Josh in the community. He's also part of the class of Robin's podcast, class of 2020. And so I don't know him super well, but I have played my first mini with him. I believe that he orchestrated my demise, not going to lie. But, or he allowed me to go, even though he said he would never vote for me. But anyways, I'm not bitter. So I did like, though, the fact that like he playing kind of for him and she wanted to do well for her brother, and that she loved the fact that Sequester brought her and her brother closer together. And so I think that that's one of the things that I love about these social strategy games, is because you do meet people that you would probably never meet ever in your life. Like I'd probably meet you in real life, Jojo, but like we did meet from live reality games. Like it's actually a thing, and that our relationship or friendship has grown because of reality games. So it really, it is a testament. And that's probably another reason Team Anonymous, why I really enjoy seeing new people, because I do like seeing new friendships emerge. Yes, they might emerge with celebrities, but like also maybe not, because they have their own shit going on and like they're doing that for potentially a different reason. So I love the social strategy games because of the connections that get to be made with people. And so I love that part of her story. I like that Jacob pointed out that neither of them raised their hand for him to be receiving their vote, which I thought was very interesting. Because I was thinking that, I'm like, who would Jacob vote for? I didn't know who he would vote for. Now, do you remember who he voted for in the end? Let me see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, he voted for Spencer.
Interesting. I just want to see the last little thing. Okay, let's put it there. I'm gonna just play that a little bit, or pause it anyways, because I just want to see who the votes were definitively.
7-4.
Yes, that I remember. Okay, hold on. Let's fucking get it. Billy. Okay, so for Spencer, we got Katie. So Katie and Spencer were kind of frenemies, and they were friends, and they worked together, and they stabbed each other in the back at their first mini or whatnot. And so she still voted for Spencer in the end. I appreciate that. Marcelo, I guess, why don't you think he voted for Billy?
The fact he didn't stand to give her applause with her win.
That's true.
I thought that was.
I was shocked about that, actually. I forgot about that until right now.
Bitter.
Maybe.
I think, now, I don't know.
Brent also didn't vote for Billy. Now, do you think it's because of the little fight that she had with Brent?
I think it was because of her answer to his question.
Oh, it's not good, actually. It's true. And Jacob votes for...
did have a...
Talk.
Sorry. I think Brent and Spencer did have an outside relationship going into the game, and I do think he thinks of him as a good man. So I don't think it was a vote against Billy. I think it was a vote for Spencer. Though in my opinion, Marcelo's was a vote against Billy. Jacob, fair and square. They both battled Final 5 together. Though I don't necessarily agree that Spencer was a better player. Jacob said it himself that Billy deserve to win this game. So I don't know why he voted this way. But everyone's votes are, they're entitled to their own vote, obviously.
Hundo. And I mean, and then the people that voted for Billy, it was pretty self-explanatory. I didn't really expect, I thought that he would get all the votes pretty much. I didn't realize there was such bad blood between her and Marcelo. I didn't Joseph, do you know what happened there? Yeah, you're agreeing with me here. Are you guys shocked it was 11-0? It wasn't 11-0 right away for Billy. I was, yeah. I thought that she would get I thought it was going to be a clean sweep. The fact that she was only 7-4 shows you which jurors were bitter and which ones respected that Spencer grew as a person and survived 4 battle matches. Exactly. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. It would really depend on how I felt about Billy, because I don't know if she was strategizing with people. You know what I mean? I feel as she was just being loyal and not putting votes on people, but I don't know how much she steered the strategy. So I'm not sure. Well, both of them actually didn't really steer strategy that much. So I'm not sure what I would have honored in the end. Because if they both didn't steer strategy specifically, and Billy, in for sake of keeping loyalty, wouldn't even show her cards ever by a way that she wanted to vote or who she wanted to stay or who she wanted to go. But Spencer won battle matches. I may be voting for Spencer to win if I were playing, because he at least had to do some things instead of just being well liked and not drawing a line in the sand.
I still think it was a lot of work for Billy the entire week. If it was, it's different. Like, a game is different in 5 hours than it is in 7 days, than it is in a month, or 39 days, like on Survivor. So if she didn't necessarily need to have a target specifically, that's not always a bad thing. But staying off the radar for a drag, excuse me, might have been her goal most weeks. So self-preservation, there it is. I don't think there was a clear reason to vote against one of them winning, for sure. I think they were both deserving in their own ways.
True. I'm just picturing myself if I was in that house and I had been voted out. I personally would have been annoyed with Billy, because yes, she's loyal, but she's not a good ally necessarily, because she doesn't put her neck out there with her vote. She doesn't stand up for her people with her vote. Yes, she will protect them with her voice. Yes, she won't out her alliances by her vote, but she doesn't stand and protect them. And that is something that I respect as with my loyalty in playing with somebody, is that I want their vote to prove that they are committed to me moving forward. And so that is why I personally don't know if I would have been able to vote for Billy in this scenario, because if we're talking about loyalty, there's a few other loyalty factors that I would be bringing in that she didn't, from my perspective, honor in this game. And the votes are very important to me, because if Billy's vote was, if she voted one way or another and I would have stayed in the game, that's something.
Yeah.
So
it's how you make other people feel, and at the end of the day.
Yep. And she
get over what they can't get over.
She was an expert at making people want her to win, and that's another really big thing for me when I vote for a winner. So that could have, if I still really liked her, even though I didn't feel that she was a loyal in the way that I value loyalty to me, but she made me feel good, then yes, she might still get my vote.
Yeah.
But but Spencer could have got it though. Even though I
was really impressed with Spencer's performance in the final 2. I really was. But he was great.
Definitely, he definitely showed up better. Do you think they got pen and paper? Do you think that they got to write it out?
I don't know. It was the shaking. Both of them shaking was what got me. Like the foot was tapping. Spencer's thighs were going. His hand. Ooh.
Why don't you like that? Would be kind of scary.
Kinda.
But they had to practice though with that other pitch round, so they should be used to it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, that's pretty much all I have about this episode. I mean, I definitely think Billy is a deserving winner. I think she is the first woman of color, person of color, I believe, that has won any of the Sequester live reality games. So kudos to you, Billy. Definitely want to come and snatch that crown. And any other final thoughts for the season? Anything that you want to see moving forward? What's up?
Thank you, Sequester, for doing this. We love you. Yeah.
Getting it out during a pandemic, are able to do it safely and do such an excellent show. Like, it was a really, really great to watch, especially because we know that we were missing the strategy with Baby All-Stars. That was just like such like, I don't even want to talk about it. It was really refreshing to end out 2020 on, I think, a high note and start the new year on a good foot, on the best foot moving forward with social strategy games. So thank you so much, Audrey, for providing us with this amazing entertainment with an amazing cast that we got to get to know of. And anybody that watched for the cast, we love all of you. We're just critiquing gameplay from an outsider's perspective. We love all your games. Jojo, I think, did win. I believe that Billy and Spencer were on his team. So he's taking the crown here. I was hoping that Josh was going to just come in and sneak and be my winner from my team.
Hey, but I would have been happy with Josh too.
Jojo wins this. Jojo wins this. Joseph says Audrey and her team should be given a thumbs up. Yes, not only did they do 5 weeks of work in about 6 weeks, yes, but they showed you how you can still have a great season during a crazy time. Yes, they did. Yes, you can. Trust them. Yes, trust them. Not trust us, trust no one. Trust Audrey.
Trust Audrey.
Honestly, so good. Thanks, everybody that has been tuning in. Joseph, you are honestly an angel, God sent. Always coming in with all the tea and the info. You never leave us hanging. You're always there to support. So we definitely appreciate you always in the chat, providing us with tea and with information and your own perspective. So thank you so much, Joseph, Team Anonymous, Cameron, usually Dolores is here, and anybody else that pops in to talk about Sequester that is a fan of this game. Let us know if there's another show that you want us to cover. We're thinking of doing The Hustle. Hustler, sorry. If not the Hustle. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in The Hustle, we're considering doing that. It's on Netflix, I believe. No, NBC?
I think it's on ABC. I tried looking at on my television for it, and it had no episodes available. So I set it to record. Hopefully, next time I check, I'll find one recorded so I can actually watch in full.
Yes. Okay. So we maybe we'll pick up on that and do like a couple episodes at a time at the same time slot area around 2 p.m. Eastern-ish. If you haven't done so already, please, please, please subscribe down over there. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting close. We're probably at like 630 right now. So we are getting close. Follow us. Hang out with us. Chat with us. Talk to us. We love you. Final thoughts, Jojo? Anything else?
Thanks for having me for Sequester Girl. Oh, I'm holding my phone. Can't do it. Oh, this is such a Sequester thing to do. No, I love you. Don't go.
It's over. It's over.